Okay, in this video I'm going to be showing how to change out a aftermarket header into a 2002 Lexus IS300. Right now I'm getting a check engine light for the cats or the front cats, and the cats are actually in the factory header, so I'm going to be removing those and doing some O2 spacers so I don't get the check engine light anymore, and then I don't have to worry about the bad cats. What I did first is I soaked all the bolts in PB Blaster overnight, and then I'm going to spray them again before I start working on it. And obviously, you can see here, first thing I need to do is take out my intake here, tubing, just to get it out of the way, and then, first thing I'm going to do is take out the oxygen sensors because those like to get stuck, so I'll start with that. Okay, and you can see now I got both oxygen sensors out. I actually used I have an oxygen sensor socket. I'd recommend using that versus just trying to give it hell with like a crescent wrench because they strip out very easily, and this is made to fit right on there. And the one on the back is kind of a pain in the ass. It was just hard to reach, and I had to use a cheater bar on the end of it, but they both came out, so that was nice. Okay, and I did go ahead and loosen all those up, all the bolts going to the head, or nuts rather. They all came off without snapping any, so that was nice. A couple of them I did have to get the little bar here on the end of the ratchet just because it was in a tight spot and I couldn't really get much leverage. But yeah, working on pulling the nuts out now and go from there. Okay, now that I got those nuts all off, I'm going to move to the bottom of the car to where the header bolts to the rest of the exhaust. So hopefully that's not too rusted out, but these were pretty easy to get out, just somewhat of a tight space in the back, but other than that, it's not too bad. Okay, so at this point you can see I actually got the headers in now. I didn't actually film the installation process, mainly because it was a huge pain because the three bottom bolts where it bolts to the header bolts to the Y pipe, those were rusted, beyond belief. I live in the Midwest, so they're extremely rusty. I'm not sure if you can see them now. I've got new bolts in there, new gaskets. I didn't use. I used the gasket that the header came with, but I also used the OEM donut gaskets, which are part number 31332. If you go through like a Napa or an AutoZone, use those because I read online that the one the header comes with, they will end up leaking. So make sure you don't do that. But just going over some of the issues I came across. Big things with the bolts down there. I had to Dremel them off with a Dremel, and also had to use an impact on some of them. So just keep that in mind. One nut thing I came across, the big issue that I had with them is, I'm not sure if you can see, but there's the third oxygen sensor that goes way in the back there. It doesn't fit. You can kind of see it there. It won't fit. Too close to the firewall. I read online some people bang the firewall in and get it to work. I hit it in a little bit, wouldn't go out. I had to use a giant sledgehammer to get that bent in enough. So at this point, I have an appointment at an exhaust shop to get the bung welded down lower in the tubing back there, and I ordered an oxygen sensor that I'm gonna be extending as well. So right now I'm running without that third oxygen sensor in the back, which obviously it's throwing a check engine light still, but it seems to be running okay. I did order an oxygen sensor simulator as well, so I'm going to be wiring that in. But yeah, as far as getting the old headers out, the main issue I came across, obviously the bolts down the bottom. The second one was getting them up to the top. So what I did is I unbolted the ground, which is that guy there. He was bolted over to the block on the other side, but I moved it up to the front. The other thing I came across was on this, I'm not sure if this is even a cat or if it's just a resonator. I had to take off the heat shield for that it was catching. So once I unbolted that ground and removed this heat shield, the header pulled right out to the top. I obviously had to remove the intake, but it's kind of a given. But other than that, those are the main issues I had across it. Car seems a lot more responsive with the new header on. Even with my only running two of the oxygen sensors, so hopefully once I get that figured out next week, once I have my appointment done and have the new bung welded in. Hopefully it should run a little bit better, and I have the oxygen sensor simulator as well. So yeah, the headers, I bought them off, I think the site was like Redline 360 or something along those lines. I forget exactly what site it was, but the headers came in a box at DNA Motoring. So I looked up, a couple different sites have them. They cost me a little under $200 shipped to my door. So, replace those with the new ones over there. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Sorry I couldn't get the video of the actual install process, but I went over the issues that I had. The main ones were the bolts down on the bottom were I live in the Midwest, so we get rust is a huge issue here. So hopefully yours go a little bit smoother. So I did want to show the OEM gaskets. This is what they look like. These are the used ones, obviously, but the new ones, they're little circles like that. On the factory downpipe, they just sit in there like that, so they don't slide out. When you get the new ones in with the header, obviously this part's not going to be like that, so it was a little bit of an issue lining it up with the new ones that I got. But it was doable. I don't have any leaks. Car's quiet still unless I get on it. Then you can obviously hear a little bit deeper tone out of it, but it's not leaking or anything like that. So make sure you get these. Like I said, they're part number 31332. If you don't want to go straight through Toyota, these were like $3 a piece at Napa, whereas the OEM Toyota ones would have been like $7 a piece, and you have to obviously order them from a dealer. So they were in stock in my local Napa, like $3. So I'd recommend getting those, because everywhere I read the gasket that comes with it, they end up just blowing out. So yep. And then also I got new bolts, nut and bolts. I just got heat treated ones, whatever ones ended up fitting there, with some lock washers as well. Not sure how well you can see, but there's where it's bolted up. I did use the new gasket, but I also used the donut gaskets as well, just kind of added protection. But there's the new bolts. There's the header bolts up, and right down up there is where I'm going to be getting the oxygen sensor bung welded in, since the one here did not fit. And here's what the car sounds like while idling with a new header. I'll just kind of give it a little bit of throttle. So you can't really even tell once you're actually driving it and give it hell. You hear a noticeable difference in the sound tone of the motor, but otherwise at idle it's pretty well quiet.